love it with some passion. Rubber band and the money that keeps stacking. Got a honey who come with elite fashion. She too fine, I tell her that thing magic. You ain't a hustle, you broke, well that seems tragic. Gotta catch in the field like deep passes. I tell her plug if it's sticky, then please bag it. I need the best cause I grew up beneath madness.
Yo, what up? This is the Chop Up here on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network. And you know, Spence is on vacation a little early, man. So he left it up to the OGs here. And I got my guy, Twan. What's good, dog?
Well, not much, man. Just staying busy throughout the whole season. What's good with you?
Well, you know, tonight is 40th birthday eve. Now, my birthday is on Monday, but now that
happy early birthday.
I appreciate it. Now I don't have any work to do. I'm off for the rest till next week. It's party time, bro. So I'm about to get it in. You know, it's 40. I don't know how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a number, man.
I feel like an old head.
It's just a number, man. Like, it's however you feel in your mind.
That's what they say, dog. That's what they say. But man, every day I wake up, bro, I feel it. I feel it, dude. I feel it, man. But hey, I'm excited about it. I'm doing some deep sea fishing. I don't know if you ever done that.
I have. Like, yeah, I love to fish. So yeah, it's been a little while since I've done deep sea. Like when I was living in South Florida, we used to do it every now and then.
Oh yeah, you did live down there.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a good place for it for sure.
And then I'm getting a whole leg tap on the front of my leg, my right leg. So
okay,
I'm gonna be under the needle for like 10 to 12 hours.
What? Oh,
in 2 day sessions. So I'm doing like 5 or 6 on one day and the same on the next day.
Man, I don't have any tattoos, so yeah, man. Good luck to you, man. That sounds painful.
It is painful, man. It is painful, but you already know what it is, man. It's you only turn 40 once, dog.
Yeah, you gotta live it up, man. Whatever you want to do, man, just live it up. Have a good time.
Now, I gotta tell you this too, because you're a foodie like me. So I'm going to this joint. I forgot the name of it, but it's it's near Anaheim. But it's a seafood boil place.
Okay.
Where they have these giant king crab legs, lobster crab, and I'm doing that as well.
Well, I think I know. What is the place called? You know, I think I know what you're talking about.
I have to text it to you. I have to text it to you because I don't know the name of it on top of my head, but I'm going.
Yeah, I used to live in LA, so I think I know what you're talking about. I lived everywhere at this point, but yeah, I used to live. I've lived many lives.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that, dog. So, hey, so football wise, dog, there's been a lot going on the past few days, man. This week has been kind of heavy. You know, you guys made a move today with Elijah Moore being moved. Now, we talked, you know, this past offseason and during the season. He's had a hard time with the team and with the direction they've been going and his playing time. So what kind of insight about the trade can you give me and a little bit of the backstory for those who don't know what's going on there?
Well, I'll start at the back. First of all, like for people that don't know, that just knew that I cover the Jets for the New York Daily News. So yeah, so that's what you know Sterles is talking about. So as far as Elijah Moore, I mean, last year was kind of turbulent. I mean, you look at his rookie season; he's only been in the league 2 years, but it seems like it's a lot longer considering what happened last year. Like had a decent rookie year, ended up catching over 40 passes. You know, obviously, you know, some transition with a young Zach Wilson is both were rookies, and then last year. It started out, you know, the quarterback was Joe Flacco at first because Zach Wilson was hurt for a little bit. Then Zach Wilson comes in and, you know, really not looking to Elijah Moore. And, you know, they ended up beating the Packers in mid-October last year. And then after the game, I think one of the reporters, Rich Cimini from ESPN, quoted a tweet saying he had 0, you know, targets in the game. And then Elijah Moore quoted that tweet and said, you know, he wasn't necessarily happy with his role, but he's going to shut up and not say anything because, you know, they're winning. But he, in turn, he did say something because had he not said anything, he wouldn't have tweeted what he said. And then let out, you know, everything was fine. And then they went to practice the next week, and him and Mike LaFleur, the Jets offensive coordinator at the time, get into a verbal argument, you know, where Elijah Moore was sent home for the day. But Robert Saleh ended up saying Moore was sent home for family matters, which everybody knew, you know, it was something more to it. especially coming off what happened a few days ago. And then Elijah Moore requests a trade, which the Jets don't grant. But they ended up sending, like, he stayed at home. They played Denver the next week. He did not travel to Denver for the game. And then, really, the rest of the year, he was not getting the touches and the catches that I think he really wanted. The rapport with Zach Wilson just wasn't there. And he didn't say it necessarily publicly, but he did not like playing with Zach Wilson whatsoever. So, but the team again at the time the team was winning. This before they started losing 6 straight to end the year, and then he was trying to be like a good soldier to the extent, but he already kind of let the toothpaste out of the tube at that point. And I think the Jets just realized, what, it's better to move on. You're going to get Aaron Rodgers at some point. You're trying to revamp your wide receiver room, and it's probably not going to be a lot of touches for him anyway. So might as well just move on. You get a second-round pick for him, the number over 42nd pick overall, and they also give up a third to get rid of Elijah Moore.
Man, so that's a big move for them. I mean, and then you guys went and signed Mecole Hardman today, right?
Yes, they signed him to a 1-year deal worth $6.5 million. I mean, it's like a low-risk deal. I mean, he's essentially replacing Baxter Berrios, who the team released a few weeks ago,
right,
due to salary reasons.
Yeah, and that's a move that I really didn't foresee happening, them moving on from Braxton Berrios. I thought he was a pretty good slot option in that offense when he's targeted.
They wanted to keep him. They wanted to restructure his deal, but Brett Berrios did not want to do that. So they decided to release him, and Berrios ended up going to Miami, and the place where he played his college football.
Man. So, when I look at that Mecole Hardman thing, like, I like him as a player. I thought the Bills would take a stab at him, but at $6.5 million, that kind of makes you wonder what Odell Beckham's going to get, right? If Mecole's getting 6, Odell's getting 10.
Probably, yeah. At least, I think he's definitely looking for more than 4. That's what he tweeted out. I don't know how many teams they're going to give him that, but unless it's incentive laden, it has to be very incentive. Because we're talking about a man that has not stayed healthy recently. I have a hard time giving him more than $10 million a year, to be quite honest with you. Me personally, we'll see what the Jets do.
Right.
Even though I know they're going for it, but it's hard when the guy has had 2 ACL surgeries in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, how effective, can you be? Like, if you're a wide receiver, everything that you do is predicated on those ligaments, on that motion. And for you to it'd be one thing if you was a defensive tackle, right?
Yes.
Your lateral movement really isn't that important. But when you're a wide receiver, I get that you can catch the ball one hand, and that's cute and all. But, man, in and out of breaks, top of stem, that's going to be tough, man. That's a lot. I know as a former college athlete, when I played ball, I tore my ACL, and you're just never the same. Now, again, I'm not privy to the nutrition and the trainers that they have today, but it's still a major injury.
Yeah, and he's 30 now, so he's had 2 major injuries like that recently. I mean, and to be honest with you, he looked good for the little bit of time we saw him with the Rams, remember? But
right.
Prior to that, he didn't look great when he was with Cleveland. I don't think he's necessarily looked the same since he's left the Giants, to be quite honest with you. So it's taking a risk. And then obviously we hadn't even factored in the character and some of the things like that too. So, but yeah, I have a hard time giving somebody that much money unless it's a 1-year prove-it deal. Maybe for $10 million, I might do that, but I would not give him a multi-year deal.
Yeah, man, I couldn't do it. Unless you're a team like the Texans who would benefit from them making a move like that because they have the cap space and, you're going to put a young rookie quarterback back there. I think, for teams like that, I don't think he'd want to go there just because they're really not competitive.
Yeah, well, you're a young team like the Texans. Why not just go get a young receiver? You got 2 early draft picks. Just pair the quarterback up with a receiver, and then you got 2 on a rookie deal. That's what I would do. That's just me personally. I don't know if I'd necessarily have him in the locker room. I don't know if I would want somebody like that if I not to say he has the worst character in the world, but it's been some situations that have happened, obviously.
Will we call it a situationship?
You heard about the airplane situation, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was pretty recent. So I don't know if I would just rather go with somebody young in that situation. That's just me.
Okay, so we're talking about situationships. A little segue here. We're going to keep it on the Jets, your favorite team that you love. Okay. why hasn't the Aaron Rodgers news broke? What are you hearing? Like, it sounds like, the deal is all but done or the parameters are in place. What is the holdup? Is it where the Packers are waiting for that compensation they've been looking for? They're kind of playing chicken, or is it Aaron Rodgers trying to see what what the Jets free agent moves are going to be? Do you have any insight on that?
No, I mean, Aaron. I think Aaron wants to go there. It's just a matter of one. Like it's been a stalemate between the Jets and the Packers. The Packers want a first round pick at least, and the Jets don't want to give him one. They want the deal that sent Brett Favre to the Jets years ago. You're not getting that deal. Not in 2023. You're not getting that deal. So you got to understand that the Packers are like, okay, we at least want a first round pick, something conditional, something.
Mhm.
They're gonna have to give up a first round pick, whether it be in 2023 or 2024. I think at some point they're gonna have to give up a first round pick. And if I'm the Jets, I would rather just give it up now. If that's all you're asking for this year, I'll give them a first round pick just for the year.
Really?
Yeah, just for one. You rather give them? Okay, you're gonna give them 2 or 3 picks for Aaron Rodgers, or as opposed to just one.
I'm not giving nothing for Aaron Rodgers, to be honest.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you're in that situation, if you're the Jets, then would you rather just give up 2 picks or rather give up 1?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to give up any picks, just go ahead and give up that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, what is the holdup? If it sounds like this is from the outside looking in, they waited in terms of free agent quarterbacks. They flirted with Derek Carr. I don't know what happened there. And then now you're seeing the quarterback market is pretty much dried up. Most of aside from Lamar Jackson, who knows what's going to happen there. Why? And I don't understand why they haven't made an offer to the Ravens for him. You got this Aaron Rodgers thing, and it just doesn't make any sense as to why we're sitting here 4 weeks away from the draft, and Aaron Rodgers is still technically a Green Bay Packer on paper. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, basically, just because of the compensation, they don't want to give up the compensation. So for me, like if that's all they were asking for, then I wouldn't have a problem just giving them 13 at that point. You have 2 first round picks anyway. Just pull the trigger. Like I understand from a standpoint where you're trying to build the team, but obviously you're trying to go for it now because otherwise you wouldn't go after Aaron Rodgers in the first place. You would go after Lamar Jackson. If this is the long game, if you're trying to build for the future, then you give 2 first round picks to go get Lamar Jackson instead of going for Aaron Rodgers. So just give them the first round pick if that's all they're going to ask for, and just be done with it. And then just start building your team that way. Because to be honest with you, they're trying to build their team with veterans for the most part anyway. Because you have a guy that Aaron Rodgers with, you don't know how long he's going to play anyway. He may play 1 year, he may play 2 years. Hopefully, he plays 2 years if you're in the Jets organization. But you still have 2 second round picks that you can start to build your team from, and also still build your offensive line that definitely needs a lot of work. But to answer your question about Lamar Jackson and the Jets, basically, whenever you go get Nathaniel Hackett, then you have an Aaron Rodgers who knows his system already, so it kind of helps everybody else. You can bring that's why they need to make the deal. So when the off-season program starts a month from now, just about, you can have him try to implement the offense, help him integrate the offense with everybody else who doesn't necessarily know it. They're learning it at X and O's and tablets, but it's different when you're learning it on the fly, on the offense and on the field, where you have a guy that's very knowledgeable like Aaron Rodgers along with Alan Lazard.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely in win now mode. I mean, you could tell by the moves that they made, getting rid of Elijah Moore, who they invested a second round pick in.
Correct.
And then turn around and flip him, and then getting Mecole Hardman, Alan Lazard. That wide receiver room is going to be completely different by the time from last year, the last snap of last season to the first snap of the new season. It's going to be completely different. But I mean, I've got to be honest, man. I'm excited about what the Jets are doing. Like, they've been drafting better than the Bills. I mean, we talked about this the last few years. Now it helps when you have premium picks at the top of the draft, But if you're a Jets fan, you got to be. And I know you are. You got to be excited.
Yeah, okay. I think they are. I think the fans feel optimistic, just the ones that you can tell on Twitter or whatever. But they hadn't made the playoffs since 2010. So I think going to get an Aaron Rodgers and makes them makes them excited, opportunistic about what the future may hold for this team. And they know it might not be a long time, might be a short time, but if they can make the playoffs and try to make a run at I don't know if they're ready to go say Super Bowl, but to make a run and maybe win a playoff game, then I think that would excite a lot of people in the fan base.
Okay, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk a little draft now. At the end of the show, we're going to do a little mock draft for the Jets and the Bills in round 1. Okay, I'm like the mock draft king around here at Buffalo Rumblings. Is what I do, especially if I'm live and I'm on the mic. We're doing a mock draft, dog. But I wrote an article at BuffaloRumblings.com with my first mock of the season of all 32 teams, and at number 12, I have the Jets. Now, when I tell you
13. They're 13. Yeah.
When I tell you the pick, I want your honest reaction, and then maybe give me your honest reaction, and then give me who you would pick in that position, given the string of moves and the potential Aaron Rodgers signing, or if you want to trade back, whatever. So at that pick, I have the Jets picking Paris Johnson, offensive tackle, Ohio State. Go.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. I think they need to address the tackle position still. I know you got Dwayne Brown that's coming back, but he had double shoulder surgery and throughout the offseason. He played last year basically on one shoulder. So you have him coming back. You know it's going to be for one more year, but you need to have a plan in place too. And you still need another tackle. I know you got Mekhi Becton. I know he looked great. He's lost a lot of weight, but the man's played one game in the last 2 years. So you really can't depend on him. It's good to have him at depth just in case somebody gets hurt, but they're going to decline his 5th-year option because there's no way you can necessarily pick that up because, again, the man has only played, one game, and that was back in the 2021 season when he suffered a season-ending knee injury and was out for the year. So you can't really pick that up. You still have some questions at right tackle. Max Mitchell is coming off of, a blood clot situation that ended his season last year. So whatever you want to do, you can put Paris Johnson at right tackle for this year, and then once Dwayne Brown is gone, you can also move. You can then move him to left tackle, and then try to find a solution at the right tackle position. But yeah, I think that'll be a tremendous move there. They still need to address the center position too, because Connor McGovern, who was their starting center the last few years as a free agent, doesn't seem like they're very interested in bringing him back. So if you don't draft a guy like Paris Johnson in the first round, then I think you could trade back, also take a possible John Michael Smith from Minnesota in the late first round and get your center there and maybe still address the tackle position later on.
Yeah, so my question is this, Jonah Williams is a guy, offensive tackle that's on the market. I think his best position is inside the guard. Why wouldn't the Jets want to trade a 3rd, 4th round pick for a guy? If you trade for him, you're going to have to give him a new contract, or you can let him play out his current deal. And this is another guy who's often been injured. But I think if you insulate him, you put him at guard, I think you guys would have a really nice, solid line. I mean, I love Elijah Vera Tucker. I think he's going to be a really solid pro. So what are your thoughts on the prospects of maybe you guys checking out Jonah Williams?
Well, I think, you kind of answered your own question there, why they won't do it because of money. Like they're already kind of strapped for cash now. And then this is before the era structure him. He's going to make some type of money, and it's going to take a part of the cap as well. Although just other ways that they can generate more money by letting go Corey Davis and also Carl Lawson too as well. So they have other ways to get money. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know if they necessarily want to pay the amount of money that it would take to get Williams there. And I feel like they're solid at guard. Unless you want to move Elijah Vera Tucker to right tackle, now you could do that. And then you could plug him in at the right guard position because remember Elijah Vera Tucker played at left tackle last year, right tackle, and right guard. He was a unicorn completely. Right. Like he's one of the MVPs of the offense last year before he suffered that biceps injury. So you have the flexibility where you could move him around, but I think they probably will keep him at right guard, but we'll see. But he played tackle pretty solid last year because he had experience at that, as you probably know, at USC.
Yeah, it sounds like the Jets over there cooking the books. I don't know how in the world they ain't got no money to sign nobody because they ain't got nobody on their roster but a bunch of solid rookies and second-year players. Where's the money going?
Well, CJ Mosley, was taking up a lot of money. They still need to restructure. They could restructure him. I think that'll free up some money. Again, Carl Lawson, that's taken up a lot of money. They recently restructured Lincoln Thomason's deal. Corey Davis is still on the book there too as well. So there's a lot of. They still have some veterans on the roster that's taking up a bulk of cash.
Yeah, man, it's time to get rid of some of them cats. If you want to give us that linebacker y'all got, C.J. Mosley. I mean, I know the Bills can't pay for him, but we'll take him. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
We'll take him off your hands.
the some of the Jets fans are ready to get rid of CJ Mosley, which I don't understand. The man was a second team All Pro last year.
He's really good. Why would you want to get rid of him?
Really good. They feel like they could do better, which they can't, because if they could, they would be doing better.
Right. Right.
I don't understand that. Listen, those guys are hard to find. Like, so again, he's one of the top 5 or 5 to 10 linebackers in football. So
yeah, easily.
Yeah. So I don't understand.
That's from a fan's perspective. I mean, when you actually watch the all 22 of CJ Mosley, he's a disruptor. He's really good. So I don't understand that.
Yeah, Bill Belichick even gave him a shout out last year. I mean, saying that he knew a lot of their plays and he was disruptive in what they were doing. So Bill Belichick says that, and then he doesn't.
Give nobody
I mean, he does with the other teams, but he normally just says people were good players. But he was actually saying what CJ Mosley was doing to help out the Jets defense. So it was really genuine.
Yeah, it has to be. Okay, so if we're talking compensation now, I want you to put your Jets fandom aside, okay? Because I'm gonna bring you.
That's gonna be really hard.
I'm gonna bring you to the winning team for a little bit. We're gonna talk some Bills, okay? All right. So the Bills today. I don't know if you've seen this. You probably have seen it, but
of course, yeah.
I got to show you. And for those of you who don't know, this is DHop on the Instagram today. So he put this up. Buffalo Soldier. The lyrics of the Bob Marley song, right? There's been a lot of rumors and speculation. If you go, Daniel Jeremiah said that the best landing spot for DeAndre Hopkins was the Buffalo Bills. I don't, now he's well connected to the league. He didn't say any source told him anything, but I just think it's kind of curious, kind of weird that would drop last night, this morning. And then you have this news about DeAndre Hopkins. Ed Oliver on his Instagram made a little comment, these cryptic messages from these athletes be killing me, dog, but, DeAndre Hopkins, first of all, DeAndre Hopkins in a Bills uniform. Now, you have to make the money work. I think this dude's owed like $26 million. And I think maybe, some of that would have to be eaten up by the Cardinals and give them Ed Oliver is what I'd do. But DeAndre Hopkins in this offense, it makes a lot of sense in terms of Bills need a number 2 wide receiver. Now, DHop is a number 1 wide receiver, but he's 29 years old. Stephon Diggs he's no spring chicken either. I mean, these guys are kind of getting old in terms of young wide receiver talent. They're older, right?
They're still in their prime. Yeah,
they're still in their prime, but you got at least 2 solid years, and it's like it's time.
Oh, nah, man. They could.
How many
those
years?
Guys. I think Diggs has another good 5 years left at him. I think
of solid, consistent production.
Yeah,
and not 5 years.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think so. I think DHop could give you like 3 or 4 more. All right, he's signed for 2 more years anyway, so he'll at least give you that. I mean, and then he's not. From what I understand, he's not looking for another contract like how he was with the Texans, going from the Texans to the Cardinals when he was looking for that big money deal. I think this is just kind of like he just wants to get to a contender.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo would be the perfect spot. Now, having Diggs and having DHop. Now, let me tell you something, because we're going to talk draft. If the Buffalo Bills trade Ed Oliver, and let's say they give up Ed Oliver and a 3rd-round pick for DeAndre. No, Ed Oliver and a 5th-round pick this year and a 4th-round pick next year.
Oh, come on. They have to get more than they can't give a 3rd round or at least conditional third round.
Well, we gotta look at the Brandon Cooks deal, who's similar in age, who's been
he ain't nowhere near.
I'm just saying. Now, if you're a negotiator, you have to use that as a baseline. Like, so a 4th for DeAndre with Ed Oliver and maybe a conditional or a 5th-round pick next year.
I need a conditional. I think if the Bills make the playoffs, then I need a 3rd. Then otherwise, then I'll do the 4th.
This year or next year?
I could do. I would do. Well, it have to be next year then, because if it's going to be conditional.
So if it's a conditional, for next year, I would do it for that. I need my 3rd-round pick this year. I would make that trade.
But I might have to give me. I would say, give me a 5th rounder this year then. if it's going to be conditional next year.
Deal, because we got 2 5th-round picks. So
okay,
I will make that trade. So DeAndre Hopkins in this offense, one, you got a guy that can get at every level of the field, right? He's going to eat you up short, intermediate, great route runner. He got some of the best hands in the league. You know, if I make that move, I want you to take a guess at who I'm drafting at 27 if he's there. Just take a guess.
Oh man.
So
It's got to be some kind of. It's not an offensive lineman, I'm sure. No.
Nope.
Like, where are you going with this?
Bijan Robinson.
Oh, they did that one. If he's there, I don't know if he's going to be there though.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will. There.
But in the hypothetical land that we're living in right now, if Bijan Robinson is there, even if DHop or not, I'm really tempted to go select him at 27 if he's there. But just think about an offense with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, and Bijan Robinson in the back. I don't care who's on the offensive line. Just think how many light boxes you're gonna have. Like, come on, man.
That's what they need. That's exactly what they need. Like, to take some pressure off of Josh. He won't feel like he needs to be Superman out there on the field at times. And you got 2 game-breaking receivers. Dalton Knox. I mean, he's been solid at times. I mean, that's what you want. And then you got Gabe Davis playing the role that he needs to be playing, which is the 3rd wide receiver. So that's what they need. That's what they need, especially considering what the Dolphins have done this offseason. Bringing in Jalen Ramsey. And look, I know we talked about Jalen Ramsey and he had a rough year but still, he's still a top flight corner in this league.
Exactly.
And he still improved that team. And then you look at the Jets possibly bringing in Aaron Rodgers. You need to load up on your team. So I don't know if I see Bijan getting past the Cowboys. Right. If that happens, because I think Jerry Jones would definitely pounce on that. But if he were, then you gotta pull you better run to the podium.
Yeah, you gotta pull the trigger now. Now I think the Cowboys are gonna go tight end round 1. I think
they could,
Michael Mayer, I think they might go there.
Could.
So
they probably could now.
Look. Here he is. Look, you're supposed to be on vacation. You talking about he cooked us on that Ramsey take last week.
Oh God, come on, man. Come on. But you see all these teams making moves, and then the Bills, they really hadn't made a lot of moves.
Right.
So that's why you gotta try to get better because these other teams are making moves to get better. Even the Patriots have made some moves to try to get better. So look, the Bills, again, like I said last week, the Bills are still the top dog. Yes, I do take Bijan if he's there at 27, by the way. So I think if you're the Bills, you're still the team to beat in the AFC East. However, like I said, I think the gap has gotten closer a little bit because of what the Dolphins have done. And then obviously if the Jets bring in Aaron Rodgers, then, that'll improve that team as well.
And that's just in your division. Now, you look at teams like the Chiefs and the Bengals who hit on some really good draft picks this past season. Like, you still have those behemoths that you gotta. So I think it's an arms race in the AFC, man. I think if there's an opportunity to get a generational talent, I mean, in the scouting community, they talk about Bijan Robinson being the best running back since 2014 to come out in this draft. I get it's so easy to get so locked into positional needs, positional value, and kind of draft and come to the draft just shaken because you have to get a linebacker because the Bills lost Tremaine Edmonds. But at the same time, man, it's like if you can strike while the iron's hot and get a generational talent, man, you got to do it, and especially at 27.
This is not the NBA draft. Like, you can find value later on throughout the course of the draft. Like, this is the NBA draft that, you got to take – if you need a wing player, you got to take them whatever you can get them because we already know how the talent exponentially increases in the NBA draft. NFL draft, you can find linemen. You can find a lot of different players. You can find quality linebackers later on. Like, will they be as good as Tremaine Edmonds right away? Probably not. But that doesn't necessarily mean they won't pan out to be starters in this league and somebody that can help you. So I definitely think, take the best available player at times and then don't worry about it later. Especially when, again, you talk about the Chiefs. Still going to be there. The Bengals, they end up making a move to get Orlando Brown, which I thought was huge for them. Like, that's going to make that, man, that's all Joe Burrow needed. Like, just a top flight tackle like that. They're going to be tough. Like, the AFC goes through those 2 teams, and then everybody else is kind of jockeying for position after that.
Yeah, man, the Chiefs scare me. I get the Bills beat them in the regular season, but that don't really mean nothing. But when you get to the postseason and you see Joe Burrow and you see Patrick Mahomes, you got to have something special. Not just Stephon Diggs. You got to have some dudes that go pound for pound, possession for possession. Right now, the Bills are heavily undermanned at that position. I got a question for you, though.
Yeah.
Did you see that the Chiefs are talking about Kadarius Toney being wide receiver 1? Did you see that?
No, I did not, and I think that's tomfoolery to say the least. Like, I won't say the other word, but
it's cap. It's cap. Like, so I like Kadarius Toney out of Florida, but in the pre-draft process, I was hoping that the Bills would try to go get him, and it didn't happen or whatever. But him as your wide receiver 1 in that offense, you don't have McCole Hardman. Now you got Travis Kelce, who's your guy. Juju's gone.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't it kind of sound like the Chiefs are kind of fooling everybody? They're either going to go wide receiver. They might take 2. Now they do have Sterling Moore, but he was okay as a rookie. Now,
Sky Moore. Yeah.
I really do think the Chiefs are going to look wide receiver round 1.
Yes, I think I can see that. I mean, it's lying season. People lie about every single thing throughout the course of the off season, so it's hard to get through the BS that's been said like for some of these teams too. So I fail to believe that. That's just like a smokescreen saying, "Oh well, we're not good. We feel comfortable about our wide receiver position, so don't think we're going to trade. We're going to trade or draft a wide receiver in round 1," which I think is crazy to think. I mean, if a certain guy is there, maybe like a Quentin Johnson from TCU is there, happen to slide down to all the way down there to 31. Yeah, I think they would take him. Like, I think they would take him in a heartbeat too, because you see, if you watch, college football like we do, Quentin Johnson was a man amongst boys at times, like big body guy, be able to get the ball up in space too, and that's something that I think the Chiefs have really lacked, especially in their receiver core right now.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy this week about Quentin Johnson. They were like, "Well, he's not 6'4" like they originally said he was." I'm like, "Do all those teams live? Who cares? Like, the dude has a 40-inch vertical, and he's gonna give you a head top every time." So I would love to have a skill set like that in my offense. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, people try to find anything to nitpick at right about now. But, who cares if he's like a half an inch shorter, like than what you thought. I mean, the man plays like he's about 6'5" anyway and goes up and gets the ball. So that's all I care about. How do you play? How do you look out there on the field? And what do you do out there in production, obviously? And then he definitely has all of those traits.
All right, so let me give you an either or situation. And then we're talking NFL draft. And we're going to keep it in the scope of wide receivers. I know y'all need one. The Bills need one. Okay, so if you could have your pick of, let's just say, Jackson Smith-Njigba, or you can get Zay Flowers in the second round. Now, let's just say he falls to the second round. I think he goes first, but we see every single season where a guy that we like, oh yeah, he's first round, and he slides to the second round, and DK Metcalf end up hanging around there, and someone strikes gold. Which one would you rather have, Jackson Smith-Njigba or Zay Flowers?
I'm going Zay Flowers. I know he's like I know he's 5'10", but I don't care. Like again, I don't care what the height is or what it says. He separates himself from everybody. He's such a great crisp route runner. Right. I mean, the man was like he was doing it as a freshman at BC. So, and like I said, I saw the guy play at high school, like playing in Fort Lauderdale. So I remember him really well, and I'm not surprised that he's at this stage now where he could potentially be a first round pick. But I think he's that good. I really do. Like, I've seen people that were that height, and then he can play on the outside. He can play in the slot too. He's not just a slot guy. Usually, you have slot guys that are like 5'9", 5'10". He can play on the outside and play well. So I'm not worried about him whatsoever. So I really do I like them both, Billy, to be honest with you. So, but if you're asking me which one I would feel the most comfortable with, is definitely Zay Flowers.
Wow, that's a hot take there. That's a hot take. I'm gonna throw another one at you. So we'll stay wide receiver. Let's go. The guy that we just talked about from TCU, Quentin Johnson. Okay, would you rather have Quentin Johnson? Let's say your positional draft value is mid-first round, kind of similar to what the Jets are, and then you could go get Marvin Mims in the second round, late second. Which one do you want?
I still would say John, even though I do like Mims, but I still would slightly say Johnson just because I think the skill set and everything that he brings. But yeah, Mims is really good too. I don't think enough people are really talking about him and what he did at production wise on the college level.
For that one, I'll go Mims on that one, just because Mims can do everything. Like
Yes,
when
he
you talk
can.
about route running, he has it. When you talk about understanding leverage and zone coverage and uncovering, I think he has a really good situational awareness to make himself available. I like his game a lot, man. I really do think. Now, is he first round grade? I mean, maybe not. And there's the Quentin Johnson. He's Friends first round grade as well. So that I just think they're really good players. Marvin Mims played on a trash Oklahoma team,
Correct.
and I
That's what
think
really
that's
hurts
why
him.
everybody's getting hung up on. But when you go and
Correct.
you watch the dude, you're like, okay, why aren't many people talking about him?
Yeah, he played on the worst Oklahoma team they probably had in the last 10 years. So that has a lot to do with I think his draft stock because yeah, I mean they played in a really bad quarterback situation, like to say the least. So I really think that hurt his stock. But beyond that, when you see the player, I mean, he's definitely close to first round talent for sure.
Okay, you ready for another one? I got another
Yeah.
one for you. Okay, so we're gonna go tight end. Okay, Michael Mayer. Okay, tight end, Fighting Irish, Notre Dame. Okay, and let's say you can have Dalton. You know what? Darnell Washington in the second round. Which one would you
Uh,
rather have? Which one?
Oh, I'm going Washington. I probably would go with Washington too.
Oh,
Although I like Maya too. I like Maya, but
oh.
I think Washington is on the like. I think he's. It depends on the offense too. Like that's the thing too. Like I think if you're talking about a scheme like San Francisco or like Miami, I think Washington would be a great fit for them. But if you're talking about somebody like the Cowboys or the Patriots, then maybe I would go with Michael Meyer too. So like again, it's one of those things where it's fit, but I really like Washington. Again, I like both guys, but Washington would probably be the guy that I pick because I don't even think he said he hit his ceiling. That's how I think. He was he was the second best tight end on the Georgia team last year. To be honest with you, but on a lot of teams, he would be their top option.
So you're getting a lot of love with this "Gimme Washington" stuff,
Yeah. Oh,
man.
yeah. He can block. He can
He
catch. Like
he
he
can.
can do it all. He can do it all. He is everything. Especially if you run like a system like the 49ers where you need that tight end to be an inline blocker. Where a lot of these tight ends now are not necessarily good blockers coming out of college, but Washington is.
So is Michael Meyer. Like
He is. He
he's
is.
and he's
I
got
don't think
better
he's as
hands. I
good.
think I think he's got better
His
hands
hands are
too.
better. His hands are better. Yes, but I don't think he's nearly the blocker that Washington is.
Oh man, see, I'm it's a toss up for me on that one. I don't know who I'd want because I feel like Washington. Although I think he has a higher ceiling, you have to wait for that developmental process to take place. Like if he were with the Bills, he would be perfect because you got a
Yes.
tight end one. But Michael Meyer, he can come in today and be tight end one because he's so
Yes.
polished, right? So
Correct.
I mean, again, I think a lot of it has to do with who you're drafted to. It matters,
Yes.
but I think they're going to be two really good tight ends. And there's another guy, Sam Laporta from Iowa. Does he not give you Travis Kelce vibes? Like
Yeah. I mean,
if you took the nameplate off the back and you had no history of who Travis Kelce actually is, tell me they are not similar players.
yeah, they look very similar. They kind of play very similar, and yeah, I mean, again, like Iowa puts out these tight ends and offensive linemen. Like there's
Right.
nobody. I mean, George Kittle went there. We know those story about Iowa offensive linemen, but yeah, man, I think he's one of the more underrated players in the country. So yeah, I mean, he would be a good value like round two if you look at if he's around for round three. I don't know if he will be, but if you're looking for a tight end around there with some value that I think could potentially blossom into somebody later. Remember George Kittle was a third round pick. And then
Right.
so I mean, we could see him be one of those picks like, man, like I saw how good he was in college. I can't believe he went in the third round. I think that's the same thing you're gonna be saying about him too.
Yeah, I think there's like 6 solid tight ends in this draft that are
Yes.
actually really good. This is probably the deepest tight end class that I've ever seen since I've been covering the draft. I've never seen this many tight ends as polished and skilled. Dalton Kincaid is another one
Yes.
that's so
That's what I was
good,
gonna say.
man. He's
Yeah, he can go
so
first
good.
round. Yeah, he can go
Yeah.
first round. Like he's really good. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot of people are looking like the wide receiver class isn't that great, which is not compared to other drafts. But tight end is great. It's certain skill positions in this draft that are really good. I love the offensive line. Like I think the trenches guys are good. Defensive line is also really good, and tight ends are really good too. Like those would be some of the top position groups in this draft, at least for me.
Okay, so if you're the
And
Dallas Cowboys
quarterback,
and
obviously.
quarterback, okay, I'll do running back and then quarterback, and then we'll do our little mock draft. So, running back, I'm a big fan. I love Bijan Robinson, but I really, really love Jahmyr Gibbs. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, he's so sudden with the ball. He's fast. Like he has zero wasted steps. I mean, this guy, I think he has really good contact balance, catches the
Yes.
ball out of the backfield. Like if you're a team that, okay, like because I'm thinking like if I'm the Cowboys, right? You can go fill a need in round 1, and then if you have to like trade up into round 2 to get Jahmyr Gibbs, would you rather do that, or would you rather just say, you know what, we need a running back, so I'm going to go with Bijan here, and then we'll kind of let the chips fall where they may?
Well, I think Gibbs is going to go in the first round simply because I think Bijan could be taken earlier than that. To be honest with you, I think you could see a team late in the first round either trade up in the first round to get him, or a team in the back end that needs a running back. Like maybe the Bills, possibly take him. I think he is everything you want in the running back. He can catch the ball out the backfield. He's a really good route runner, tremendous runner. Like he could be. Look, everybody's fascinated about Bijan Robinson, deservedly so. I think he is the top running back in this draft.
For sure.
However, Gibbs is not too far behind either. I think if people place more value on running backs, I think you can make the case that both of these guys have first round grades. And I think, I really do think he's that good.
Right. Like I know Bijan's a generational talent. Like that's a given, but man, Jahmyr Gibbs is like not far behind him. It's not like he's in a class by himself, and then it's like Jahmyr Gibbs is knocking on the doorstep.
He reminds me of Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
He really does. Like who also started his career at Alabama before going to Tennessee. But I think they're very similar as far as skill set. Kamara might be a little bit faster, but I think as far as what they do out there on the field is very, very similar.
Okay, so this is the last one. Then we're gonna do our mock. So you're the Texans. Or no, you're the Panthers, and you're on the clock with the first pick overall, and you have to pick. They need a quarterback, and we all know that they're going quarterback. You have your choice. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud.
No, I'm gonna go Anthony. No, I'm not gonna go Anthony Richardson. I mean, it's been rumblings they are interested. From what I understand, David Tepper, the owner, really likes Anthony Richardson. They got their pro day coming up next week, so we'll see what Anthony Richardson does in the pro day. But out of those two, I would take CJ Stroud. I think CJ is really ascending himself there. I like Bryce Young too, but for what CJ, especially when he showed me against Georgia in the semifinal game, I think he pretty solidified that for me. And then his size, like his skill set, he's able to run. I would take, Bryce Young might be the better of the two maybe, but I think, if you're the Panthers, I feel comfortable with them taking CJ Stroud right now.
So I feel like I go Bryce Young. I just feel like when number 1 overall pick, I mean, your talent stands alone, but there's a leadership element. I'm not saying CJ Stroud can't do it, and I'm not just hating on him because he's an Ohio State quarterback. But I feel like, when you talk about footwork, quick release, I'll agree with you on this part where CJ Stroud has the best ball placement and accuracy of any quarterback in this draft, in my opinion. Just the different angles and how he could fit the ball in different places. I think, he's him when it comes to that in this draft class. But I just feel like, when you're talking about number 1 overall pick, I just feel like, Bryce Young gives you all the things. Now, he might not have all the, things that you want from throwing the ball. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but man, he does a lot of things really well. Like he's one of the only quarterbacks that I saw watching film that gets to the line and starts making checks. You know what I'm saying? The protections and stuff, that's advanced quarterback play. I just feel like, that's I think that for me, when I saw that, I was like, okay, Bryce Young's number 1.
Yeah, they do a lot of like pro style stuff with Alabama. I remember Bill O'Brien was there. So like they do a lot of, pro, like they kind of treat their players like very, professional like. So, and that's not really lost on me either, because I think that makes the transition to the NFL that much,
Right, right.
easier and smoother for a player like that, because they're already running NFL type routes and concepts and things like that too. So yeah, I think either one of these guys are going to be fine. Like I think Bryce Young is tremendous. Like I've seen him play, since getting back to high school, but I think that's the direction they're going to go, and I think Houston will probably end up taking Bryce Young too. But the wild card in all this is Anthony Richardson, because I think he probably has the highest ceiling out of all of them. The problem is he's only started 13 games at
Right,
Florida
right.
and very raw. Like had he went back to school, like which I understand why he didn't, because next year's quarterback class is just as good. This one, although I think he possibly could be the number one. He would have been the number one pick next year too. Although
Ooh,
you
I don't
got
know.
Caleb,
I don't know.
you
Caleb
got
Williams
Caleb
is,
Williams. That's what I say. You got Caleb Williams. You got May out of North Carolina too.
yeah.
So those two like would be tough as well. So I get why he came out this year, and he's probably gonna be a top 4 pick somewhere, whether it be the Colts
Colts,
or
you get him.
some another other team that's gonna trade up, maybe with Arizona to get him.
Okay, all right. So let's do this. So I'm gonna share my screen here. Okay, we're gonna get this mock draft in. So we're gonna, let's say 2 rounds. Okay. So I got the Jets and the Bills in here. So you ready to do this?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Let's do it. All right. So Jets are on the clock now. Let me tell you. So as a little review, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson went number 2 overall in this mock draft simulation. CJ Stroud went to number 7 with the Raiders. There's nothing seriously that like I would protest. So you're on the clock at pick number 13. All right. So can you see the list of prospects here for the Jets?
Yeah, I can. Yes.
Okay, so who you want out of here? So you got Quentin Johnson, you got Kalijah Cansey, Brian Branch, who would be solid for you guys. Joey Porter Jr. You can get 2 lockdown corners here. Dalton Kincaid, Paris Johnson, Brian Breesy, Nolan Smith.
Yeah, I'm gonna take your cue and follow like what you said and go with Paris Johnson Jr. I think that's a position that they need. Obviously, we talked about the Jets' offensive line. They had 11 players start on the offensive line last year.
Yeah.
So to be able to have him, which at one time I didn't think he would fall that far,
Right.
which now he may or may not still. It's kind of borderline, but if he's there, I think you got to build for the future. Although this is a team that's trying to win now. But yeah, you got to be able to strike while iron is high to take a guy like that. That's going to solidify your offensive line for the next decade.
Yeah.
And last year, you took an Ohio State guy in the first round too. So hopefully it works out the same as well.
Yeah, you can spare me all day on that Ohio State mess. All day long. All right. So the Bills are on the clock. Dalton Kincaid is here. Dude, there ain't really much for the Bills. Like, God. See, this is it, man. Like the Bills being at 27, like I'm not okay with taking anybody here at from what I see on this board. Like I'm not gonna. I would be such a homer if I took Mozzie Smith. I don't think he's first round talent, but when you're picking at 27, I think there's 21 first round grades in this draft. You're picking a second round talent, and so for the sake of not trading out of this pick, we're going to take somebody at 27. I have to pick somebody, and if I have to do that, I might as well fill my biggest need of my roster right now, which is linebacker, and I have to go Jack Campbell. I mean, he's the most athletic, 6'5", and when you watch him in Iowa, he's all over the field all the time, making plays. He's leader of that defense. He's super solid. So if I'm the Bills, you kind of have to marry yourself to Jack Campbell, saying that you let Tremaine Edmonds go. So we got the Jets on the clock.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently now the Jets have 2 first round picks in the second round. So yeah, yeah. Who what's on the board then? I'm trying to look right there.
All right,
what's on the board? What's on the board at let me see, at linebacker, put it that way.
So Dan Henley's on the board at linebacker. You could have him. You could have Sam Laporta. Antonio Johnson's here. You could have Luke Weipler for a center. You could have Tank Dell. Well, you probably don't need Tank Dell. Luke Musgrave. Felix Anaduki Uzoma as an edge player.
All right, let's look at safety then.
Okay,
Let's go with the safety.
Let's
Let's go with the
Let's go with
safety.
Antonio Johnson. I think drafting Antonio
Yes.
Johnson, I think he's extremely
Yes.
versatile. I think, having those guys in your secondary that good, Antonio Johnson will fit right in. I think it's a scheme fit. I think that's an excellent pick for y'all.
Yes, I think that'd be ideal too, because they definitely need some safety help too as well.
All right, so you got a tackle and you got a safety and you're on the clock again. I feel like here you need to get like a offensive. Oh, you want to go center?
We had to go with center now. Yeah.
Okay,
we had to go with the center.
Let's see what you got here. Let's go. Where is the center? Interior offensive lineman. Here we go. All right, so you have your choice of Joe Tippmann is still on the board. John Michael Smith is still on the board.
Oh yeah, they're going there.
This is a no-brainer.
Yes.
John Michael Smith is my top interior offensive lineman without a shadow of a doubt.
Yes.
I don't know about these player rankings on PFF, but John Michael Smith is off the board. So you, being the Jets, man, you got a haul so far. So back to the Bills. This is trash to me, actually. If I'm the Bills, I got my linebacker. I need to fill another need. Offensive line is probably.
That's what I say. Offensive line, like I think they need some help there.
Yeah, I could go Matt Bergeron to give Spencer Brown some play at right tackle. But I feel like in the second round, I don't want to take a developmental guy. I want a guy that can come in and play right away, right? So I'm going to go back to interior offensive line here. Now, I have my selection of Luke Weipler, Andrew Voorhees, who towards ACL. He's not going to be available. Lusagun Oluwatimi from Michigan. Now, the homer in me says take Oluwatimi, but this is second round. I don't think the value's there for him. Weipler, I mean, he's Ohio State. I really ain't trying to fool with him like that. What?
I was going to say the Jets. I was going to have him go to the Jets too. Actually, I like Weipler.
So for the sake of tonight, I'm going to go Cody Mock, North Dakota State offensive tackle. I just think he's a mean son of a gun. He's I think he's technically refined. He's ugly as sin too. So I want my offensive lineman just ugly. Like that man ain't got no teeth. He really don't have front teeth. Like I don't know what happened.
That's fine.
I want him ugly. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want, man.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what you want your offensive lineman to be. You want them to be mean and ugly and look like hockey players. That's exactly what you want. Like you want them like coming out look like they just got out the farm. Like that's exactly what you want.
Yeah, heck yeah. So I would say the Jets, if you're picking for the Jets and that's what you guys come away with, that's an A+ draft. You getting some solid guys, like another draft class by the Jets where you guys are kicking ass and taking names. Now, I say you guys because that's your squad, bro. Like, you have to own that.
Come on, man.
That's
not my squad. That's not my squad. But, hey, I just write about the team, for good or better or worse.
the Jets are like Miley Cyrus, right? When she was, like, just kind of like, ooh, Hannah Montana. And then you're like, she kind of got a little older. You're like, okay, like, you still kind of busted, but you can come hang out.
Hey,
like, that's what the Jets are to me.
Hey, Miley had that phase when she was doing some hip hop too. Like she was doing a little hip hop thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was out there. She was out there.
Oh man, yeah, Miley was out there. I can't give y'all like somebody super pretty because I can't. The Bills are the pretty girl in the room right now, so y'all gonna have to be second tier or something.
Right. I mean, what's the pretty girl in the room though?
It's whatever your heart desires. It could be a Beyonce. Right? I mean, it could be. Now, I have my favorites, okay? But, I don't want to get too excited on this podcast and let me cat out the bag. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. We all do have our favorites. So, I mean, Beyonce, I think a lot of people would say she's an A, so top tier.
Right. Yeah. We'll talk about that offline. But, however, you, my friend, and we're wrapping up here, you are going to the owners' meeting. Now, for those of people, explain to the fans out there who don't know what happens at the owners' meeting. Why don't you talk about what you're going to be doing out there?
Well, basically, owners, general managers, and coaches are out there, and it's basically a big convention. And then they're going to decide rules for the upcoming year. Like it's all. I'm on a Zoom on Friday, actually talking about some of the new guidelines that they're going to be going over field wise. I have no idea what this is going to entail, but normally, like, well, like we have breakfast with the coaches, and then we
Mhm.
talk to them, for about an hour, just about various topics. It's the best availability you're going to get all year, like period. So basically, I'll be talking to Robert Saleh, and then I'm going to try to get over to all the AFC East coaches. So I'm going to
All
try
right.
to, I'm going to have a recorder with the Jets, and then I'm going to try to make my way to Sean McDermott. I'm curious to know what their thoughts are about the Jets, possibly getting Aaron Rodgers, and then how that shapes the rest of the division and what they look like. I'm curious to see. I'm sure Bill Belichick probably won't say a whole lot, but McDermott and McDaniel will probably have some interesting comments what to say about Aaron Rodgers joining the fray.
So okay, so now I got a question for you, and this
Yeah.
may be a weird question, and I'm a weird guy when it comes to this kind of stuff. Do you ever like watch people eat? Like I feel I could tell a lot about somebody by the way they eat, and you guys being at the coaches meetings, or the owners meetings, there's a lot of food down there.
Well, yes, it will be.
Have you just seen a situation where someone's just eating and you're like, bro, I can't vibe with you because you eat like you just
Yeah, I've met people like that. Yeah.
you want to you want to share about
No,
what?
no, I do not. I do not. Yeah, I'm not. I have to do that offline, but yeah, I definitely. But I know what you're talking about.
I
But yeah,
try.
it'll be some eating. They have breakfast there. Will also serve us dinner too as well. It'll also be some alcoholic beverages as well
Ooh,
with the coaches.
okay,
So
okay.
they get to lay their hair down and then just kind of relax too. So it's gonna be fun. It's really gonna be a good time.
All right. Well, while you're out there dining with the Philistines, I'm gonna be out here holding it down for you. I'm gonna be working. All right, man. I'm gonna be working. Hopefully, I'll be at the draft next month. I know you'll be there, and if I'm out there, we definitely gonna have to link up and do the damn thing, so forth.
Yeah, definitely let me know.
All right, so that will be that's gonna be the end of the show today. You've been kicking it with Sturls and my guy Antwan Staley. This is the Chop Up, and just so y'all know, if you haven't liked, follow, and subscribe to the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast feed or the Chop Up or any of our shows, Twan, why don't you tell our listeners how they can find you and your work?
Just find me at Antwan Staley on Twitter. All social media platforms. Also find me at the New York Daily News as well.
All right, man. Well, that's all for the Chop Up, man. And I'm gonna have to say we out of here. Go Bills.